Herzlich willkommen heute zur zweiten Ausgabe der Ringvorlesung Künstliche Intelligenz an der Technischen Hochschule Nürnberg. Wie bei der vergangenen Ausgabe dürfen wir Sie heute auch wieder begrüßen auf unserem YouTube-Livestream statt im Hörsaal. Wir freuen uns aber, dass Sie trotzdem so zahlreich bisher jetzt schon dabei sind und freuen uns auch auf einen ganz spannenden Vortrag heute. Im Studio heute bei uns ist Dirk Kiefer von CGI Deutschland. Bekannt ist der Kiefer in der Region Nürnberg auch aus seiner Zeit vorher bei Bayern Innovativ. Dort hat er die Kultur- und Kreativwirtschaft in Bayern vernetzt. Eine Premiere haben wir heute noch bei der Ringvorlesung Künstliche Intelligenz. Wir werden heute zwei Experten auch zuschalten aus Belgien und aus Indien, um das Thema Selbstlernende Chatbots, um das es heute geht, auch von verschiedenen und auch praktischen Seiten zu beleuchten. Dann wünsche ich viel Spaß bei der Ringvorlesung und jetzt geht's los.
Hallo Nürnberg, hallo Welt. Chatbots versus COVID-19. For our international viewers, please bear with me speaking German for 5 minutes. We'll be switching to English to talk to our guest speakers. But for the time being, I hope it's okay if I am in Nürnberg and I'm speaking German. Hallo, mein Name ist Dirk Kiefer von CGI Deutschland. Ich erinnere mich noch gut an die Diskussion mit dem Markus Kaiser, der mich eingeladen hat, über das Thema Chatbots und KI zu sprechen. Da haben wir uns überlegt, ja, also klar, ein sehr technologisches Thema. Und kann man denn jetzt wirklich auch klar machen, dass so viel mehr möglich ist, jetzt heutzutage 2 oder 3 Jahre nach einer Zeit, wo die Chatbots zum Teil dafür bekannt waren, sehr schnell in Dinge und Themen abzudriften, die wir alle gar nicht hören wollen, schon gar nicht lesen und dauerhaft. Da hat sich viel getan, aber heute freue ich mich besonders, dass ich hier sein darf, weil die Technologie im Augenblick etwas möglich macht, was wir uns, glaube ich, vor eben 2, 3 Jahren oder auch noch vor ein paar Wochen nicht vorstellen konnten, dass wir nämlich unser Leben, unsere staatliche Gesellschaft weiterführen können und beispielsweise auch den digitalen Hochschulbetrieb voranbringen können. Und toll, dass das klappt. Und insofern passt es natürlich sehr, sehr gut, jetzt nicht einfach nur über Technologie zu reden, sondern auch über das, was Technologie wirklich für das Zusammenleben im Augenblick leisten kann. Und da komme ich jetzt zu meinem Thema, den Chatbots. Ich habe einen kleinen Untertitel gewählt, digitale Lösungen für die neue Normalität. Ich glaube, wir alle haben schon eine große Selbstverständlichkeit im Umgang mit der digitalen Technologie. Ich glaube, es kommt aber jetzt nochmal auf ein ganz neues Niveau und es muss es auch. Das trifft speziell sozusagen diejenigen, die sich beruflich mit dem Thema befassen, aber eigentlich auch alle anderen. Ich werde jetzt gleich mit 2 ausgewiesenen Digitalexperten reden. Meine Kollegin Lana Kuri von CGI in Belgien wird gleich aus Brüssel zugeschaltet sein und dann mein Kollege Amit Mitra aus Indien, der jetzt in Bangalore schon ist. Aber du bist leider erst der Zweite, der dran ist, dauert noch einen Moment. Warum ist es jetzt so entscheidend, warum stehe ich hier, sagen wir es mal so, zu dem Thema zu reden? Ich bin aktiv bei CGI Deutschland als Berater für digitale Innovationen im öffentlichen Sektor. CGI ist einer der weltweit größten IT-Beratungen mit einem Ansatz, nicht Technologie anzubieten und Lösungen im Technologiebereich einfach zu suchen, sondern generell strategisch Lösungen zu diskutieren und von Ende zu Ende Dinge zu regeln, die Mehrwert bieten. Und wir machen das insgesamt im Service für über 5.000 Kunden weltweit, sind knapp 80.000 Member, die von Kanada bis also Nordamerika, Europa aktiv sind auf der ganzen Welt und speziell mit einem speziellen Ansatz, dass wir nämlich vor Ort sind, so wie ich heute hier in Nürnberg. Sie sehen es auf der Karte, das sind unsere Standorte in Deutschland. Wir haben das Prinzip, dass wir vor Ort mit unseren Kunden arbeiten und zwar dort, wo wir auch leben. Also heute, muss ich leider sagen, fehlt ein roter Punkt auf der Karte Nürnberg. Da wohne ich beispielsweise und einige von unseren Membern, die in Erfurt, die in Frankfurt, die in Nürnberg, die in München arbeiten, von hier aus genauso in München dann eben auch, wo ich im Projekteinsatz bin. Und zwar speziell im öffentlichen Sektor. Das ist unser Hauptschwerpunkt, 42% unseres Geschäftes spielt sich im öffentlichen Sektor ab und ich glaube, jetzt schließt sich vielleicht so langsam der Kreis dazu, warum rede ich jetzt zum Thema Chatbots mit Bezug auf die aktuelle Corona-Krise. Speziell im öffentlichen Sektor bei den Verwaltungen ist es im Augenblick ein Riesenthema, wie wir digitale Technologie so einsetzen können, dass das Leben weitergeht und dass die zusätzlichen Probleme und Fragestellungen, die im Augenblick auf uns zukommen, auch gelöst werden können. Und da greifen wir ganz wesentlich auf künstliche Intelligenz zurück. Technologie an der Stelle ist aber nicht alles. Wir haben eine Sache, glaube ich, allesamt, egal wer, festgestellt, Technologie löst die Themen, die Probleme nicht, sondern es geht darum, dass auch die Technologie angewandt werden muss, dass die Kultur außenrum stimmt. Es geht auch nicht nur grundsätzlich um was Neues, es geht um das Neue, was dann auch Mehrwert stiftet. Das Ganze muss dann aber auch umgesetzt werden, ankommen und mit einer Zuverlässigkeit im Betrieb dann auch durchgesetzt werden. Also das alles zusammen. Und jetzt ist die Frage, jetzt kommt hier so eine neue Krise auf uns zugerollt, die wir noch gar nicht ermessen können. Und da müssen wir jetzt irgendwie feststellen, wie schnell können wir eigentlich sein, mit Technologie von 0 auf 100 diese Themen anzufassen. Und darüber möchte ich jetzt anhand von ganz konkreten Beispielen reden. Ja, es ist kompliziert, ja, es ist schwierig, sehr aufwendig, aber es geht sehr, sehr schnell, zum Beispiel mit Chatbots und KI hier für oder gegen die Corona-Krise etwas auszurichten. Genau. Dazu schalte ich jetzt zu meiner Kollegin Lana Kuri. Lana, ich hoffe, du hörst mich. Ich mache das jetzt mal hier live. Und jetzt müsstest du groß im Bild sein. Hallo Lana, schön dich zu sehen. Hello Lana, great to see you. I hope it's all right. I would have really loved to invite you here to Nuremberg to show you how beautiful it is, but I'm sure I had a glimpse through your window. It's also very beautiful in Brussels at the moment. Sun is shining, as I can see. Yes, and Lana is one of our experts of the worldwide network that is currently thinking about new solutions that can be deployed fast and reliable to deal with the COVID-19 situation. And well, Lana, over to you to talk a little bit about what you're doing all across the world.
Thanks, Dirk. What a great introduction. So I'm just going to share my screen with you all. Okay. So, good evening, everyone. It's really great to be presenting to you this evening. I'm going to start by providing a short personal perspective on the impact of COVID-19 and what it's having on the public sector. How might we reverse our thinking and leverage technology, specifically in the conversational AI and automation space, and to be able to hit COVID head on. And I'm also going to share with you some of the solutions that CGI has already implemented to start helping government institutions. So it goes without saying that the current COVID-19 outbreak is dramatically affecting the way businesses work and also the way citizens live their lives. But many of the changes are magnified and accelerated form of pre-existing trends that we have in the workplace. It's forcing rapid rethinking, obviously, of business operations across all sectors. But if we look to the public sector, there are wide-ranging challenges that include how to accommodate a remote working force, the need to manage, disperse, reimburse and report on COVID-19 federal funding, a lack of digitization and inefficient business processes is being magnified by COVID-19. For example, the need to enhance engagement with residents and businesses remotely. The number of resources required to manage influx of granting funds requests is a challenge. The transparency of COVID-19 information, response, spending, the identification of residential exposure using enhanced surveillance and monitoring of public facilities are all a few examples of the challenges facing the public sector. Now, in my opinion, how response and rebound efforts curb the increase of the impact will largely depend on how we harness technology, how we go about innovation and entrepreneurship, and to really be able to bounce back as quickly as possible. The good news is that there are tactical moves that we can already make right now to address the shortfalls that are being caused by the virus, including investments into conversational AI, unified collaboration and communications, digital channels, and even desktop as a service. So this virus outbreak has occurred in a modern, highly connected, information-dense world that we live in. And governments have already begun responding on a massive scale. Yet the dissemination of accurate, up-to-date information about the spread of the disease remains a huge challenge. So despite efforts, misinformation about the virus has spread rapidly across various platforms. There are several local and regional authorities that have made text alerts available, but these are just available to those who register, and they're not available in every locality. We've also got younger audiences who prefer social media over traditional channels, but many social media channels have been challenged by fake news and privacy breaches and aren't fully reliable either. So enter conversational AI. It's also known as chatbots. It's a young technology that allows information access through text or voice-based interactions, and it's really proving its worth during the coronavirus crisis, and it's showing how this communication channel can be leveraged in the years ahead by a large range of groups and institutions. So conversational AI is only one way in which rapid advances in technology is already helping to bring crisis-driven services and solutions to manage immediate impacts to citizens. I mean, there is obviously plenty more. But many organizations are actually leading the charge in deploying chatbots to provide COVID-19 information. Two of the most authoritative voices of the pandemic, being the WHO and CDC, have also included chatbots in their websites to provide up-to-date information to billions of people around the world on the spread of the disease and its symptoms. Many governments are also launching chatbots. They're doing this via WhatsApp and Facebook Messenger to provide validated information to their citizens. We've got cases with the German Federal Ministry of Health and the state of Bavaria. The UK government is allowing anybody to subscribe to official advice about the pandemic anywhere in the world. India, Telangana, France, the British Ministry of Health. There's just so much going on in this space. In the wake of COVID-19, CGI has deployed automation and conversational AI, as well as data-driven decision-making solutions to help government agencies and ministries to be able to rapidly share data and manage really large requests of financial relief for things such as mortgage deferrals and unemployment requests. Also to be able to rapidly respond to high-volume citizen calls using chatbots. To be able to predict resourcing needs, and also to be able to analyze the impact of COVID on communities and institutions, which is hugely important right now. Also that they can answer key challenges that they're facing. So here are a few ways in which we're helping governments and ministries during the pandemic, some real cases. But let's just focus on one of the cases for a few minutes and see how it actually works. So As can be expected, free government health helplines have seen a spike in calls since COVID-19. But it's to the point where in provinces, citizens are forced to wait upwards of an hour for advice. So this triage, this COVID-19 triage chatbot is a combination of robotics, process automation, artificial intelligence, and machine learning techniques. It uses an interactive, simple checking feature, which is driven by questions and answers. The chatbot answers the call, walks the caller through their symptoms, an assessment of their symptoms, rather, and it also answers their questions. Now, the bot will obviously be trained over time to make it smarter using AI and machine learning techniques to go into deeper analysis, but right now that's not the key critical task. The simple Q&A-based symptom checking feature is helping to reduce the volume of cases that land in urgent and emergency care. This works really well because even though the scope is quite large, the focus is very narrow due to the question and answer boundaries that are set. And this allows for the conversation between the bot and the caller to really stay on track. So a scripted conversation is created and it uses predetermined answers that the caller needs to select from, and it can be using either buttons or an image carousel. This is really effective in these types of scenarios because it's not necessary to intelligently cater for large amounts of what-if scenarios. So some typical what-if scenarios that you'd need to normally consider is if a person asks the bot, who made you, or who's your father, or simply the annoying fact that the bot just doesn't understand what the person's saying. As is the case normally with chatbots that are built for broad topics, and it usually requires long training cycles before it can really bring true value to the person that it's speaking with. These kind of bots are able to get up and running in a very short period of time. So at this point, a lot of you are probably thinking what I'm thinking. This is absolutely nothing new, and you're 100% correct. We've been working on chatbots for many years prior to COVID-19, but what's really the difference is the rapid uptake of this type of technology across institutions and enterprises. So finally, we're getting out of what I call pilot purgatory, and we're actually using this tech for good. Essentially the COVID-19 pandemic is becoming the accelerator for chatbot technology to really get out there into the world and being used to help people around the world to get more comfortable with leveraging the tool. A few years ago, a man named Michael Michaelo came up with this really fascinating idea to sharpen creativity. He called it assumption reversal. It's typically used by people working in the creative industry to come up with new products and innovations. You essentially take the key notions in any context, you add in the subject, the discipline, and then you turn it completely upside down. So instead of asking, how do I solve or prevent the issue, you ask, how could I possibly cause the issue, or how could I possibly achieve the opposite results? So what if we said, education is not about imparting knowledge? This provokes the idea that helping children develop skills that are not traditional disciplines. So soft skills, improvising, debating, thinking on one's feet, working in teams. It's really a change. It's skills that are important in the real world, but teachers currently struggle to teach due to curriculum demands. But I believe it's a change that's necessary in the context of rapid advancement of technologies, such as conversational AI and even more broadly AI. So we're now living through this reversal as opposed to a disruption on an unprecedented scale. Therefore, I think we have opportunities to really reimagine the world and our place within it. And I think we can use it to seek out the silver lining amongst the grey clouds that we're currently experiencing. So this is just a short selection of ways in which conversational AI and automation is being used right now to help public institutions navigate their way through the COVID-19 crisis. There's really so much more I could say on the topic, but for now, I thank you for your time. So over to you, Dirk.
Thank you very much, Lana. And I want to say, of course, we are really happy to answer any questions that you might have listening and watching this channel. So get ahead, get onto YouTube and send us your comments or suggestions or questions, actually. And also later, if you're watching that recording and there might be some questions open, don't hesitate to send us an email. You can see our contact details at the end. Maybe to kick off the Q&A, Lana, you mentioned fake news, and in my introduction in German, I'm aware that you speak a little bit of German. I mentioned the situation that just a few years ago there was a problem with chatbots being misused and hijacked. And another big concern for us using chatbots, especially in a situation like now, where every minute every detailed information counts. What about fake news? Isn't that an issue with an automated system like chatbots?
Yeah, it's a really fantastic question. I think there's a few ways to answer that. I would say firstly that given the fact that the use of chatbots is being advanced and accelerated via government ministries and agencies, and they are chosen to specifically use either WhatsApp bots or Facebook Messenger, means that they have more control within their own hands and the information, validated information that they're providing to reassure citizens that it is accurate, true information coming from the correct authorities. I would also say that some of the ways in which when you build a chatbot, such as these ones that are being built by government agencies and ministries and the ones that we've built at CGI, in this circumstance, there is a limited use of artificial intelligence or machine learning, and it's intentional. So we don't want to get anything wrong in the responses. As you said, this is a time where people are in a situation of panic and trying everything that is possible and not really thinking through about, messages about unproven home remedies, for example, that are being shared. So by limiting the AI and machine learning engine behind it, at least in the first instance, and by publishing the bots through secured channels like WhatsApp and Facebook, it will go a long way to solve the immediate issue right now. I mean, it'll still be an issue for the future, obviously, and that's where the whole ethics of AI comes in. But for the immediate need, this is one way in which we can handle the situation.
Anna, I've just received a question from an anonymous user with a question that relates a little bit to that kind of anxiety that we might have with chatbots and asking those systems really personal and very pertinent, important questions. So the question is, in that context, how can you give a character to a chatbot, or is that something that is necessary that at some point, in order for a chatbot to be really, I'm now paraphrasing the question, it wasn't that long actually, but isn't as I understand it, isn't kind of giving a character to an automatic system very important so that people really accept not just the information but the meaning behind it and take it seriously?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, the first basic principle and 101 of building a chatbot and approaching conversational design for sure is having a tone of voice and a design to the bot so that people can identify mainly that they're not talking to a human, but that they're actually talking to a machine. And to also provide some sort of reassurance that It's not just some fake thing that's been published out there. Now, when you're using Facebook Messenger or WhatsApp bots, the ability to overlay a design and any branding isn't really possible. So how you would tackle that is actually through the tone of voice of the bot that you create. And it is indeed really important to give consideration to that when you're building it, especially in this panic situation that we have out there. I hope that answers the question.
Thank you. Yes, and now thanks, by the way, for everybody asking the questions. I'm really happy because we tried to keep our presentations short so that there is enough time for questions, and they are coming. So keep on going, asking the question. So Lisa is asking, what are other opportunities for chatbots in the future? Are they the new Google, Bing, DuckDuckGo, and so on?
Wow, yeah, personally, and I think also Amit might want to provide an answer as well, but already in the industry, chatbots has been something that we've been experimenting to help clients with for many years now. It's not really a new technology, but it's the rapid advancement that I believe is going to propel it into many uses in the future. So if you look to China, for example, and you look to WeChat, now this is a very, very simple text-based interaction channel that has been popular for many, many years now. And it's already overrun traditional channels and search engines like Google, Bing, and websites to gather information from and all that kind of thing. So in every sector, there is opportunity. We just need to be careful as we advance forward that we are taking into consideration the responsibility, explainability, the ethics behind it. But there's just anything you can imagine. You can pretty much use a chatbot, especially with an AI or machine learning engine behind it, to do pretty much anything. With the focus on helping us as people to be able to work more efficiently and live more efficiently, essentially.
I think to expand a little bit on that and bring in kind of my own view maybe here, a chatbot system that is actually possible to set up by any company that is, or any government that is actually an alternative to the big guys, the big search engines, and it will be an alternative that can be quality controlled in a way. So just a thought on that. And I'm saying that because there's another question from the audience, from a user with a pseudonym. How much effort is it? Actually, the question is, what does it cost? But I'm rephrasing it to how much effort it is to implement a chatbot for a company. So, can you, Alana, can you give us some feeling of what a kind of a usual chatbot system would require?
Yeah, I mean, and you're going to see it from Amit during his presentation. And one of the cases that I showed in the presentation that we did for a daily payments bot, I mean, the CGI team did it, created it in 76 hours. The actual standing up the bot is not where the effort lies. The effort lies in ensuring that the intents and all of the topics, let's say, are correct, that they are well understood by the bot, meaning you need to spend many hours to train the bot with a lot of different information sources. And also the design itself of the conversation, any integrations that you want to do with your enterprise business applications. So, you know, your finance system or your website or your CRM system, this is where the effort lies. So it depends on, I know usually people don't like to hear it depends, but it really does depend on the number of topics.
I was about to say that. It's always
I know it sounds like a typical consultant response, doesn't it? But it really does depend on the number of topics that you select and just how much intelligence you want to inject into it from the very beginning. It can range from standing up a really basic FAQ bot in literally, you'll see Amit and his team, they did it in a weekend. Our other team did it for a bank recently in a weekend, or 76 hours, right through to, 3 months for a topic such as managing requests about energy and utility of a citizen. The training can go a lot longer. I mean, it's lifelong learning with bots, but hopefully that can help somewhat.
Lana, thank you very much. We are already segueing into our next speaker. Amit, you've been mentioned a few times now, and for a reason, because so for everybody, Amit is one of my colleagues, director colleagues in India. He's working in one of the delivery centers which are creating the technology that we use worldwide. I just have to put him kind of on the big screen. Lana, I'm sorry for that. I'm taking you away now from the stage.
From the stage.
I hope. Yeah, there you are.
There you are, Amit. Wonderful. So hello again to Bangalore. Wonderful that you're here.
I also want to say, what a shame that I can't really welcome you right here in Nuremberg, but I guess it's in the spirit of time, and I think it makes sense anyway to do that on a streaming platform. So we were talking about the chatbot system, and to just it's not a question from the audience, but remember you can ask the questions also now to Amit. But to take one comment that I always get talking about chatbots, and I try to convince people that they should consider chatbots as a kind of a different way of communicating and talking to people, opening other channels that people might be more willing to use, especially if it's a conversational AI based. So to put that in short, isn't that usually a huge system that you have to set up, and it only knows so much as you feed into it, and basically it's nothing more than kind of just a search engine that goes through the stuff that you've put there. With this, I give you, I hand you over to Amit, talking about the CGI self-learning chatbot system.
Right. Thanks, Dirk. Good evening, everyone. And hello, probably good morning somewhere. Someone is watching, and good afternoon as well. So we are getting to an era where we are learning to work with the machines, and the machines are also learning to work with us. So it's a new kind of delivery. That's what we are looking at currently. We call this as, or we love to call this as man-machine blended delivery of chatbots. So we are talking about chatbots today, and we are also trying to fight the dreaded COVID-19 with chatbots. Lana has spoken a lot about how we are fighting. And let me show you the real weapon behind this, with which what we are fighting today with COVID-19. So let me share my screen. So what I'm going to do here is, I'm going to talk about CGI's chatbot platform. We call this as Sophia. Just a moment, and here you go. Dirk, can you see my screen?
Yes, works perfect. Maybe you can put it in the presentation mode, and then, yes, perfect.
Yeah, I've done that, yeah. So almost 1.5 years back, but Lana was talking about the bots sometimes don't understand small things. So we noticed that there is a major problem in today's chatbots, and we decided to build something which can really have a meaningful conversation with the human beings, with us. Okay, so what we love is we love talking. So, but when we are talking, we have to learn how the bots want to talk to us, not the way we want the bots were not able to talk. So that's what we did. We created something called a CGI chatbot platform, or CGI virtual service agent. We named it as Sophia. Everyone loves Sophia. And I'll tell you why this is. We call this as a self-building chatbots platform. And last 1.5 years, we have delivered a couple of clients. And last year, we also took part in one of the National Excellence Practice Competition with which is conducted every year by Confederation of Indian Industries, and Sophia won the first prize in the digitalization category. So having said all those things, what I would do first, before I take you through the technology, how Sophia works, what are the key components, and how everything interacts to give you a meaningful conversation, I will show you a very small demo of Sophia, which we built in less than half a day. And it was not even half a day. I'll tell you where we all spent the effort and how we built the system. So let me just play for it. Okay, so what you are seeing here is a CGI document which was meant for CGI India members, and how they need to work together in this situation, how they want to prevent themselves from H1N1 and COVID-19, and how to diagnose the symptoms, and how to connect from home. So everything related to this COVID-19 problem that was there in this document. Okay, not a very big document, not a very small document. So what we did, we took this and we gave it to Sophia. Okay, so the bot, what you are going to see now, was built completely out of the box. So on one side, we give the document to Sophia. What Sophia did, Sophia read the document, and it created the bot automatically within an hour. Okay, so the overall effort was maybe half a day, putting a nice UI and getting the data and all those things. But for Sophia, it was very easy. It read the document and built the bot in less than 1 hour. So the bot, what we are going to see now, is completely out of the box, and I can ask many questions to Sophia regarding this COVID-19 situation, and how to prevent myself, how to prevent these viruses, what to do, how to do stuff. So I'm going to ask a couple of questions, and let's see how Sophia responds. Okay, so just like that, I have just putting one question: I have symptoms of flu, what should I do? Okay, so these are very common human questions. So what Sophia did, it brought me the most relevant section from this particular document into the conversation, and it also gave me a link. Okay, so if I click on that link, it will take me to that one page where I can see if I have flu symptoms, what should I do? Okay, it will not give me the entire document. Okay, it's very precise. It goes deep inside the document, brings up the most relevant answer, highlights that, and shows it to you. Okay, so we'll just in about a minute's time, we'll try to understand how Sophia does all these things and how it is possible to build a bot like this in less than an hour. Okay, so just a small demo. We are almost done with the demo, and just one more question: how about traveling to other countries? So as I asked, Sophia understands what I am asking, and it goes inside the documents, brings it up. Okay, so it brings me up the travel restrictions page, and it shows me and it highlights also a little bit of it. And like that, I can have unlimited amount of conversations with the bot regarding this COVID-19 situation and how CGI members need to handle that situation. Okay, so I'm done with the demo. So let's get back to the presentation, and let me tell you how Sophia does all these things. Okay. Now, the key aspect of Sophia not only can read documents and build bots automatically, the way it builds the bot is very different from rest of the other bots in the world today. Okay, so what it does, it creates multiple subject matter expert bots, connect those to a manager bot. Okay, so now how many bots, subject matter expert bot Sophia is going to create? That's driven by the algorithm, that's driven by the AI, and so based on the number of documents, number of topics, and everything, Sophia decides, okay, I need 5 bots for 5 topics or 10 bots for 3 topics. So all those things are decided by Sophia, and it connects to a manager bot. Now, what this helps us is contextualizing the conversation. Let's say you are discussing something on weather. So from weather you move to traffic. From traffic you move to television. From television you move to COVID-19, or from COVID-19 you move to another topic in politics. So what Sophia does, it creates all these array of subject matter expert bots on different topics and connect those to a manager. Now, when you are talking to Sophia, you might be talking to multiple subject matter expert bots you will not even realize. Okay. So your question comes to the manager bot. The manager bot understands, okay, Amit is asking a question about COVID-19, or Amit is asking a question about sports or politics or something else. Okay. So it passes to that right question or plugs in that right subject matter expert bot into the conversation. That happens in real time. Okay. So this helps us in multiple ways. This is our microbot architecture. This is what we have created. We call this phenomenon as bot-to-bot consulting. So the manager bot consults with the subject matter expert bots and then gives you back an answer. Now, how that happens, to understand that, what we need to do is to understand how Sophia we have built. Okay, so what is the heart of Sophia? What is the beauty of these contextually aware conversations? Okay, so now what happens when we build Sophia? We first build a topic. Okay, and then we gradually move to some dialogues, which becomes the functionalities of it. Okay, let's say all of us, we have insurance. Okay, I'm not well, I want to raise a claim, so I call up my insurance provider. So claims is a topic, or policy, I want to update my policy. So the low level things becomes the dialogues. Okay, so like general queries, updating policies, or renewing policies, or cancelling my insurance policy, all those things comes in the second level. So those things become my functionalities. And the last level, it's all the queries. So when we are building a bot in Sophia, we can also build the bots in Sophia manually. Okay. Now, when we are building it manually or we are building it automatically, Sophia follows this topic dialogue query model. Okay, which we call the TDQ model, which is the heart of Sophia. Okay, how this helps? Now, what happens, for each of the topics, we have created a subject matter expert bot. We can stack as many subject matter expert bots as possible as we want under a manager bot. Subject matter expert bots are connected to a manager bot. So whenever you ask anything on a very low level, on a very granular level query about anything on any subject which is trained with a subject matter expert bot, and Sophia's manager bot can understand, okay, this is the user or is talking about COVID-19 or CGI or university or education or travel, or it could be anything. Okay, so if Sophia is able to understand, the manager bot is able to understand, okay, this is a query which I have a subject matter expert bot. It's like a team of bots, they work together. Okay, so if you want to move from one topic to another, the manager bot orchestrates the movement in your conversation. So what you get is a very fluidic dialogue like what we do in our conversations. Okay. Now there is one more thing that is definitely there in Sophia, that is what we call is the lifelong self-learning. So Sophia keeps on learning from every human interaction. Okay. So one is definitely an instant learning that happens, an answer correction. So if you go and tell Sophia, this is not good, this is your answer doesn't look good. Sophia instantly goes back and brings a better answer, tries to bring a better answer. Okay. Sometimes it guides users from the continuous learning. It will provide you next best available question for you, so you don't have to type. It's very good at predicting those. Sometimes if you say, Sophia, it's not good, it will acknowledge and it will automatically suggest on the wrong understanding. So how we did it, we created two memories for Sophia. One is a working memory, one is a long-term memory. All Sophia's answers come from its long-term memory. Okay, and whatever human interactions happen, that gets stored into the working memory. Okay, and what we do is sometimes if there is a gate between this working memory and long-term memory, if we want, we can keep the gate open. If we want, you can keep the gate closed. When we want to see what Sophia is learning and how Sophia is responding to users, we keep the gate closed and we go and check what is stored into the working memory. If we see everything is fine, we let it pass to its long-term memory. So as long as a Sophia bot is interacting with the human beings every day, with every interaction, it keeps on learning. Okay. So it's created on a very simple logical conclusion. That is, if I don't say that you are bad, that means what I have told is good. Okay. So from this phenomenon, we can classify all the answers in good and bad. So from there, Sophia keeps on learning. Okay. So there are two parts of this chatbot. What we have seen is the bot was automatically built. Sophia read the document, it extracted the concepts and entities, it built questions around it, it created training data, and after creating the training data, it put all the training data into the model, and it has trained the model automatically, and from there it has attached it to the bot. It created the TDQ model and everything. It has configured the self-learning part of it. Just by doing that, in less than 1 hour, it has created a bot. Okay, and as soon as it starts interacting with the human beings, the self-learning feature kicks off. So it keeps on learning from every human interaction. So there are two parts of it. One is the self-building and one is the self-learning. This is on a very high level, what we have inside Sophia, an NLP engine, dialogue manager, a studio, self-building bots module, a lot of APIs, analytics module, and everything to connect with various cognitive AI ecosystem partners. And Sophia can be hosted on cloud or on premise. So that's on the technical side of it. The best part is just by creating these subject matter expert bots, since the subject matter expert bots, they are also very independent bots. They can work without the manager, but you can also put them under a manager. Okay. Since the subject matter expert bots are independent bots, you can create those in parallel. That's how we shrink the timeline, and we can save up to 80% of timings for creating this kind of bots. And definitely on the self-building bots, that saves a huge amount of time. Okay, so it saves up to 40% of training efforts of the bots. Okay, and the self-learning part, that saves an enormous amount of effort. So that's on a high level what Sophia is today. There are a lot of new things are coming up in Sophia, but yes, today we have the studio, this analytics module, self-building bots module. We have trained Sophia on 21 different languages. There's a built-in AI translation module, human handoff module. With all these, Sophia is gradually going. It's no more a baby. It's a teenager now. So it's helping to many of our clients, and we hope to see a larger adoption of Sophia in near future. So Derek, over to you.
Thank you, Amit. That was quite a bit, and I have already a question, but to give the audience more time for another question maybe, or several, I'll kick off with one because you said it a few times. And Amit, maybe stop sharing your screen so that you're big in full screen mode yourself again for that question. Thank you. My question is, sorry I didn't prepare that, but you said 1 hour. Is that really true? I mean, 1 hour, 60 minutes. Can you really set up a bot in 1 hour? Okay.
Okay.
Yes. If your data, let's say the bot, what we have seen, the data was already available. We don't have to do, we didn't do a single pre-processing on the data. The data as a document was available. We took that document, uploaded to Sophia, and Sophia read the document. So a couple of steps that happens when we try to build a bot like this. So Sophia does this automatically. There's a pipeline. Sophia reads the document, extracts the data, extracts the key concept, extracts entities. It builds questions around it. On every question of it, it builds synthetic data to train itself. So once the synthetic data is generated, it creates the machine learning model on which it trains itself, and then it creates the bot. So it depends on how many documents you have, or how big or small is your document, how many topics are hidden inside, how many concepts are hidden inside, number of questions Sophia could detect and create, the amount of we can play around the amount of data what we need to create while creating this bot. We need really fast bot? We create it on a very small amount of data. We have time in hand, maybe a week. So we say, okay, Sophia, create as much data as you want, and then build the bot. Okay, so the bot, what I have shown, was definitely built in less than 1 hour by Sophia, but getting that document, putting into Sophia, and after the bot was created, the bot gets created inside the studio. After that, we put it on a nice UI. So maybe you can consider it as a half-day effort, not more than half-day effort, the one what we have seen. The only thing is, when we create this kind of bot, its accuracy level varies between 70 to 80%. But as we do a round of testing, 2 rounds of testing, or 3 rounds of testing, its accuracy, you'll see, and we experience an exponential growth in its accuracy. So that's how it improves. And as soon as you start putting it into human contact, it starts learning even faster.
So I think I shouldn't have asked another question, because there are now really coming a lot of questions in here. Thank you for that. And they are some of them are on a more philosophical level, and some of them are quite technical. I mean, what do you want? Do you want to answer the philosophical first or the technical?
I would love to answer all the questions. You choose. You pick.
Like a consultant, like your colleague. Okay, so let's start with the philosophical one. Jürgen is asking on Facebook whether it's not more of an effort to create such a self-learning chatbot instead of just using a standard software bot and feeding in the information that you want it to deliver.
Right. Okay. So what happens when you really want to give answer a limited set of queries, let's say 10, 20, 30, 40, or maybe 100, then it's easier to create a chatbot with a standard software. But if you have a huge knowledge base, if you want to answer unlimited amount of questions, unlimited number of questions that might come from the end users, then this technology makes sense. Okay, definitely makes sense. But if your bot is very small, you just want to order pizza, then any bot can do. But if you want to answer what's going around COVID-19 across the world, taking data from CDC to WHO to Indian government to 10 different governments and punch those with CGI and other corporates, then Sophia is a champion.
So I think to that in that respect, there are two questions that are connected. One is from Robert, who asks whether a self-learning chatbot like that is not dangerous, because at some point you won't have them under control anymore. That's the one question. And the other one, it's kind of the opposite of that. It's from Dr. Akula at YouTube. He asked, I think quite correctly, that every AI has to be framed. The area where it responds to has to be framed in a way so that it can really deliver relevant information. And if this restriction of the input information is done on a large scale, as you've just explained, to prevent false information, how much of the learning process of the AI is still an AI and not really kind of prescribed in advance? So we have these two opposites. Where do you position a self-learning chatbot there?
Okay, so Sophia, what we have done here, it will not learn to answer from you. What it will learn is whether it is answering you is right or wrong. But its answer will always come from the knowledge base we have provided while creating the bot. If it's a CGI bot, we have provided a CGI knowledge base. It will start learning to filter its answers. Okay, just like our spam filtering happens in the emails. Sophia keeps on learning to filter whether the answer it is providing is good or bad. It will not learn if you say even a abusive word that we have seen earlier in some of the bots. You start throwing a lot of abusive word to a bot, and the bot starts learning. So nothing like that happens here. So I call this as a AI under control or controlled AI. It will never go out of control. Okay, because it's learning from what I have given, what we have given. Its knowledge base is limited to what we have provided. It's not going to go across the internet and read everything and bring it back there from there. It's from a very controlled knowledge base it's learning. Okay. So did I answer both the questions, or I answered only one question?
You answered only one, but I stick with that, Amit, because I think Lana has also something to add to that, because I think in the work for COVID-19 response, there's also this issue of kind of framing the answers correctly. Lana, may I hand over to you for a second for your answer to that?
Yeah, sure. Just maybe a broader statement in terms of the general ethics, actually, point of view that we need to consider, because indeed there's been a lot of cases in the last years where chatbots have been published to social media channels such as Twitter, and they have the AI and machine learning engine behind it has just been brilliant to the point where it's gone really bad. and so there has been this problem of such good or bad, whichever way you want to see it, amount of learning from the bot that it turns rogue, and it does then start to spread misinformation. And that's something that indeed still needs to be worked upon. And the framing helps. So framing the bot in the beginning and how you design the conversation helps, but it doesn't stop the innate nature of humans to want to play with the bots and teach it things that it shouldn't know. So how we deal with it, and Amit was showing you how we deal with it in Sophia, is by having a gate that opens and closes between the short-term and the long-term memory. And it all comes down to the way in which you choose to train the bot, the sources of information that you use to train the bot, and that can be supervised learning by feeding it the correct answers and the correct information, or it can be unsupervised. And then you need to consider having several gates in that unsupervised world, because otherwise this technology is going to simply take everything that it learns, because that's how the algorithms are developed, and it's going to feed that into its engine and run with it. So you can do what we've done in Sophia, which is to set up several gates between the learning memories, but then also be very mindful of how and where you publish it for its training. And eventually, once you release it out into the real world, how you do or do not control what it learns. Yeah.
So thank you, Lana. I would say let's save the unanswered bit of this second question, philosophical question, to the final statements, because there's one other thing I think that might be of relevance to what Amit just said. So I'll put you on the big screen again. Yeah, there you are.
Yep.
Okay, so thank you, Lana, for pointing that out. It's really doing everything. I should use my nose as a third pointer for that. So sorry. I was saying let's save the second the philosophical second question. Is it still an AI, and what does AI really mean in terms of a self-learning chatbot? Let's save that for the final remarks. I know we are approaching the end of our slot. But one question that I think I find quite relevant is from Matthias Schulz, again on YouTube. He asked, so is the manager bot responsible for all the interaction history and analytics, and therefore advise the SMEs to change their content source? I think it gets all in the same direction, talking about these guidances, and is it really a self-learning system if you have to do so much about it? But yeah, Amit, back to you with a question. This advice to the SMEs from the manager bot, is this one the responsible bit?
Derek, sorry, I missed a bit of it. The voice was crackling on my end. Can you just repeat the question? The last part.
Yeah. So I get faster and faster approaching the end of the session, I guess. Sorry for that. So is the manager bot responsible for all the interaction history and analytics, and therefore does the manager bot advise the SMEs to change their content source?
No, actually, see, the SMEs are like the experts. They know everything. Just give you a small example. There is a sports SME, there is a politics SME, and there is a travel SME. Okay, so the manager bot knows if any question comes around sports, I have to call that SME 1, subject matter expert bot 1. If anything happens, any question comes on the politics, the manager bot knows I have to call that subject matter expert bot third one. Okay, so the manager bot, it orchestrates the conversation really. It doesn't influence the learning of the subject matter expert bots. Okay, now there is a learning framework we have put, which considers inputs from both manager bot and from SME bot, with which the overall learning is being taken care. But it's not necessarily the manager bot influences the learning of the SME bots, or the SME bot influences the learning of the manager bot. It's the learning all happens from the user interactions. If I go and say Sophia is not a good answer, Sophia will learn. If I don't say Sophia it's a good answer, Sophia learns, okay, that means it's a good answer. Okay, the answer what I have provided, nobody has told me this is a bad answer, so I learn it from there.
Thank you, Amit. I'm going to wrap it up for one last final question, and maybe you can keep it short. Although this question is quite long, it's really related to what this comment on YouTube was, whether it is still an AI at this point. And I would like to rephrase that first. Ask Amit and then Lana. we've been talking about kind of this crisis management, deploying things very quickly, self-learning chatbot, the orchestration that you've explained, Amit. And I think maybe could you explain or could you tell us where is kind of the beauty of the AI in this system? What does it make more than just a kind of a knowledge base that looks for marker points and then brings up the information?
Amit, now you're on mute.
Yes. So there's a couple of things. It starts from understanding the nuances of the human conversations. So the best part, what we see is the manager bot that understands the difference between a Jaguar is parked in front, a Jaguar is parked under the tree, and a Jaguar is standing under the tree. The manager bot understands if someone is saying a Jaguar is parked under the tree, that means that Jaguar is a car. And if someone is saying a Jaguar is standing under the tree, that's a high probability the Jaguar is an animal. Okay, so that's the nuances of human conversations that our bots are able to learn today. May not be only the subject matter expert bot is able to learn that and come up to that level of human conversations, fluidic conversations. That's why we have created. So today's technology gives us an opportunity to blend in a lot of things together and create that human-like experience. So that's the beauty of AI. We can create. It's a kind of open slate today. It's a blank slate. It depends on us how we want to create. We want to create it like C3PO. We want to create it like R2D2, or we want to create it like BB8. It's all up to us. Okay, or we want to create it like Sophia. That's where we stand today. The machines where I've started, I will reiterate the same fact that the machines have started understanding us. We also have started understanding the machines. And I'm sure this relationship will go on a very long way, and both of us will embrace us with wide arms.
Thank you, Amit. And Lana, over to you. Where do you find the beauty in AI?
Well, I think, we've had some really great questions from the audience, and in particular, the last one, which was around where actually is the AI techniques in the chatbots that we're seeing in the response to the crisis. And it's not there yet. Where I see the beauty coming is, for the fact that the pandemic has widened the global usage of chatbot technology, and the widespread adoption of the technology because of the need for this rapid COVID-19 information has shown that it's a valid technology in more than just pilot scenarios, and really to be able to reduce the burden of governments and hospitals in the moment right now where call centers are overloaded, and placing that alongside a human to bring value to society where we need it the most right now. I think the beauty will come about after the pandemic, where the use of chatbots for healthcare, and in particular healthcare and citizen-centric applications, is going to continue to grow. And then we start to actually, as a society, understand more about some of the things that Amit was mentioning in terms of the learning and how you can separate the different types of memory to actually then accelerate the machine learning engine within these bots. I think overall we're going to start to see a maximization of the benefits and the minimization of the risks only if public and private stakeholders ensure that we as a society and people like us who are creating these bots properly consider the ethics, the accountability, the responsibility, security, you name it. But I think it's an exciting time to be working in this tech space.
Anna, I think we can all agree to that. And now thank you guys for joining me. And thank you very much, Markus, for having us here and explaining how to bring a Jaguar on a tree in 1 hour with AI.
So, und wir haben noch eine Frage, die sich an dich, der Kiefer, richtet, und zwar vermutlich aus dem Kreis unserer Studierenden hier an der TH Nürnberg. Wir haben ja einige Medienstudiengänge. Kann man denn so spannende Projekte auch bei CGI in München oder in Nürnberg machen, war die Frage. Und wenn ja, wird denn jemand gesucht dafür?
Ja, das ist natürlich eine wunderbare Frage. Da gibt es ganz klar eine Antwort, ja, gerne, und zwar auch jetzt. Wir haben wirklich viel zu tun, weil wir alle ja gemeinsam daran arbeiten, dass das staatliche System weiter funktioniert und auch, so wie Lana das gerade gesagt hat, das neue Normale, was wir erreichen werden, dann auch wirklich die Benefits bringt. Ich glaube, es ist für uns alle spürbar, wie wir jetzt echt die Digitalisierung also noch mehr empfinden. Und ja, wir brauchen Unterstützung dabei und gerne auch in Nürnberg, damit wir hier auch bald einen roten Punkt haben können.
Ja, herzlichen Dank an Dirk Kiefer von CGI Deutschland für den spannenden Vortrag. Herzlichen Dank an alle fürs Zuschauen. Ich hoffe, dass es ein spannender Einblick war und bitte, wenn es heute mal das ein oder andere Mal an der Tonqualität etwas geruckelt hat, dies zu entschuldigen. Das war für uns das erste Mal, dass wir international die Ringvorlesung mit 2 Zuschaltungen gemacht haben. Weiter geht's am Montag, 11. Mai, mit einem Vortrag von meinem Informatikkollegen Professor Dr. Florian Gallwitz aus der Informatikfakultät zum Thema Künstliche Intelligenz, Hype oder Realität. Auch das werden wir wieder auf dem Video-Channel übertragen hier, der TH Nürnberg von der Video-Unit, und würde uns sehr freuen, wenn Sie am 11. Mai wieder zuschauen. Dann erstmal einen schönen Abend und bis dann. Tschüss.